college?
Oh, I'm knocking them dead. They call me Straight A. Everett.
Hey, that's my kid, just like the old man, huh?
Dad, I'd like to talk to you.
Do you have an appointment? Do you have an appointment? All right, go on in there. Hey, Joe, let me know when Mike comes in. Take care of the barber. Okay, kid, come on. What's on your mind, son? You need some money?
No, thanks. I've got plenty.
Some women trouble, maybe? Hey, listen, kid.
No, it's nothing like that.
All right, shoot.
Well, it'll probably sound a little silly, Dad, but it got me awfully mad with the election so close. It was just a remark that was passed in one of the classrooms.
Remark? What kind of remark?
Not very complimentary. In fact, he implied that you were dishonest. I wanted to hit him.
You wanted to hit him, huh? Listen, kid. I'm a public figure. That sets me up for a clay pigeon. Gives everybody a right to take pot shots at me. You got big enough ears, you can hear anything about anybody. Nobody can pin anything on me, nobody. So you wanted to hit him, huh? Well, why didn't you?
He was a professor. A man whom I respect very much.
Professor, huh? Professor who?
Dr. Hudkins, chemistry. He's a Nobel Prize winner.
Mr. Everett, excuse me, Mike's here. Hi, Mike. You know my son?
Sure, I know. How are you, Mike? Well, listen, Dad, I'll run along. You're busy.
Okay, Joe, why don't you show him around? Got a big suite upstairs. Class, let him get a taste of the setup. And, don't let the old man worry you. He's been on top for a long time, and he's gonna stay there, right, Joe?
Yes, sir. I guess I was foolish. I'll see you later.
Yeah, okay. How do you like that? Somebody says something about me to the kid and he wants to paste him. My kid. Say, have you heard of Professor Hudkins, Mike?
Who hasn't? Top man in the chemistry line.
He's got more lines than just chemistry. He's a busy little bee, been spreading his honey in the wrong places. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that. Give me a drink, Mike.
Think you're gonna need one, Grady.
Sounds like a crack, and you got that I know something look. All right, let's have it.
You got troubles, Grady. Both the Star and the Tribune just came out for Scott. Mud in your eye. Real mud.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. In words of this nature, we feel we can no longer remain neutral in the current gubernatorial contest. In good conscience, we can do naught but support Mr. John Scott, whose honesty, sincerity...
Someone get the papers!
That was it. No fanfare, no headlines. Just a couple of little editorials in the two biggest papers in the state coming out for Scott. City papers, Grady, where you get your support. Where you look to pile up enough votes to cancel off upstate.
All of a sudden, huh? Why the change, Mike? For 6 months, they walk in the middle. Why the change?
Yeah. Why?
Why the papers start supporting Scott, Mike?
All I can give you is opinion.
I pay for it.
Scott's got something on you. I don't know what it is, but he's tipped off the papers to expect something big.
So?
So, whatever it is, the papers are going to take his word that he can produce and make it stick. Scott's not the kind of guy to sling mud unless he knows he's got the right target.
Let him sling. I got nothing to hide.
What are you talking about? Everybody's got something to hide. There's not a man in the state whose life's an open book. You should know that, Grady. You, of anybody. You've bossed the political machine for 20 years. You mean to tell me you played it lily white and all that time?
Nobody can prove anything else, Mike. Nobody.
John Scott can. And when the people...
Don't tell me about the people. I know the people. You give them a hot meal and a slap on the back and you've got supporters. I know. They don't have it up here. They got it here. I think for them. I act for them. I talk for them. You fill their stomach and buy their gut and there ain't one in 1,000 who'll think for himself.
Maybe Professor Hudkins can.
Yeah, maybe he can and shouldn't. But John Q. Public, what's he want to think for? That's why he elects officials. That's why he elects me.
Grady Everett. For the people.
That's right. Grady Everett. For the people. I've built hospitals, asylums, orphanages. For 20 years I've shelled out for them. They don't forget that. I've done good. Let Scott give up with that man of the masses malarkey. I'm just like you. I'm your neighbor. Elect me. Neighbors you nominate for dog catcher. For governor, they want someone who'll tell them what to do and then do it for them. That's my slate. Everett and George. They'll look after you.
George. As if it wasn't going to be rough enough, you have to saddle yourself with a clunk like that.
He's a good man. He's qualified.
Qualified, sure. He's qualified. 20 years of feeding the party kitty with creme de la currency. Those are his qualifications. He's a lousy contractor, let alone a Grady.
What's the matter?
I'm just figuring out a mathematical equation. Scott's got something on you. Steve George is a contractor. You do business with Steve George. What's that equal, Grady?
You tell me, Einstein.
All right. Just add the fact that George is as crooked as they come. Now what's it equal?
One dog don't eat you, another one will. He's just trying to look out for himself. That's democracy.
Yeah, and the Grady Everett dictionary. Abridged. I don't know, Grady. If whatever Scott's got has anything to do with any building that's been constructed, there's you and George in the blueprints. Grady.
I know. Scott's making advances upstate. Scott's making accusations. Scott's doing this. Scott's doing that. Get me a drink. No, never mind.
Hey, does the Clinton Street School mean anything to you?
Look, Mike, I pay you to make the angles for me. For me.
Check. You got nothing to hide. I remember you told me that.
All right. Wait a minute. Someone's tipped Scott off. You find out who.
Now, how do I do that? He asked innocently.
Look, if I knew all the answers, Mike, I wouldn't need you. Now, you're an ex-detective. You know how to work the angles. Like you say, nobody's life is an open book. Well, that goes for Honest John Scott. Now, you find that page, and there's a husky bonus for you.
Now, I wish I could enjoy my millions. Okay, boss man, but only because I'm curious to find out what anybody can get on Scott.
You wanted the paper, sir?
Joe, you're a square shooter. What are you doing in this game?
It's a job.
Yeah. Brings bread in the house.
Anything wrong, Mr. Everett?
Yeah, you get Steve George and have him wait up the suite right away. Oh, Joe.
Yes, sir?
You like your job?
Yes, sir, very much.
Why, I'm not exactly a rose bush.
Well, Mr. Everett, you're a positive person. You have a point of view. I have one, too.
Point of view, huh? You expect to achieve yours?
I never forget it.
Okay, I like confidence. Take off. Grady Everett, for the people. Yeah, they'll buy it. Why not? They've heard it often enough.
But, Grady, how does Scott know? How? I don't understand.
I'll go over the thing just once more, the whole thing. 6 years ago, the city accepts bids for a new school building. I secure the contract for you. You put it up. Boom, it collapses.
The building passed inspection.
That was a detail, too. And another detail was persuading the investigators that the cause was unknown. A lot of green persuasion. Now, somehow, Scott has discovered that you were the contractor, and it was your cement, your steel that killed the kids.
But you got the contract. You promoted the cheaper materials, too. Made a pretty penny out of that, too.
You know that, and I know it, but nobody else does. You know, Scott can accuse you point blank of murder, but he can only make noises at me.
What's to be done?
I'm gonna give you a break, Steve.
Give me a break?
That's right. Now get this, Steve. And get it straight. Scott's accusation will break in the papers in a day or so. Now, I could just be surprised, kick you off the ticket, and let a grand jury indict you. And I could just let you rot in prison. But I won't, of course I won't.
You won't. Grady, you're in this thing just as
But
deep
I'm
as-
not. You paid me in cash. There's not a word on paper that 2 cents has passed between us.
I gave money to the party. I've 25 years
You're
I
going to
supported...
admit the whole thing. You're going to say that I found out about it and threatened to expose you unless you resigned from the race and admitted everything.
I'll be ruined.
Well, now, that's the dirty end of the stick, Steve. After the election, I'll get you out of jail, give you enough dough for a lifetime, and you can quietly disappear.
So, you sit in the governor's chair while I rot in jail. That's how nice you're going to treat me, eh?
That's how nice I'm going to treat you, Steve.
What do you want me to do?
I'll get Joe and we'll compose your statement. Joe! Joe!
You were shouting, Mr. Everett.
Yeah, what'd you let me sleep so late for?
You seem so tired.
What's the matter, Grady? Have a bad dream?
You took your sweet time in getting here. Give me a cigarette.
Had things to do.
Okay. Joe, I want you to take this statement, and Mike, you spread it to the papers. Grady Everett, candidate for governor, has just forced the resignation of Steve George on discovering that the latter is a cheap crook. I am shocked, deeply shocked.
It was the Clinton Street School, huh?
To find that Steve George has not only violated the highest moral ethics,
Ethics?
Where was I, Joe?
You are shocked.
Yeah. And therefore,
Let me finish that statement. So stunned by Mr. George's revelation of his part in the school disaster that Mr. Grady Everett has retired to his quarters and could not be
That's
reached
enough,
pending.
Mike.
So George has decided to take the rap. Figuring the only way to get sprung is for you to become governor. What a man. Few well-chosen words and they cut their throats for you.
You're out of line, Mike, and I don't like it. Did you get all of that, Joe? Oh, yeah, and there's something else about the souls of the 9 dead school kids will not rest until the murderer is brought to trial. And so on, et cetera, et
Will
cetera.
you spring George Grady?
That's what I said.
I know that's what you said, but will you?
Careful, Mike.
You don't like the people, Grady. You don't even like yourself. I'm surprised you even like your kid.
You leave Paul out of this. That's enough.
You're right, that's enough. I got a thick skin and a fancy price, but no one can own me outright. I'm divorcing you, Grady. Incompatibility. Big Brother Everett. A knife in one hand and a food basket in the other. You're a sweet guy, Joe. Get out before he poisons you, too. We'll all look like cocker spaniels and talk like parrots. Get hip, Joe, for heaven's sake. Pull out with me.
You're fired.
Oh, I'm hurt. I was expecting a big bonus. Well, Joe, guess this makes you the #1 doormat.
Get out of here!
Oh, hello, everybody.
Now, you're just in time, Paul. Too bad you can't quit. Now, you're tied to this guy with blood. Me, I don't have to listen to this dirty lion. Someday, kid, you're gonna grow up all of a sudden. When you find out the truth about your old man. About school kids dying. And Professor Hudkins.
Yes, that's my boy.
What did Mike mean? School kids dying. And Professor Hudkins.
Ah, come on.
Mike? Mike, wait a minute. Your last remark. Kids dying and Professor Hudkins.
Ask the man of the people.
I'm asking you.
I'll hit back this time, kid.
Oh, come on. What is this about the professor?
Kaput. Out.
What do you mean?
What does it sound like? The old man didn't like what he said to you in class, so...
But Dad wouldn't.
Wouldn't he? Places Grady Everett and his kind can reach into scares me. And shut up an old professor, lock up an old guy like George, tamper with kids' lives if it suits their purpose. Now, you gotta live with them. I gotta live with myself. Excuse me.
20 years it's taken me, Joe. 20 years pulling myself up by my shoelaces. It's a long haul, Joe. I'm gonna make it come what may. I'm gonna make it.
The people don't forget, Mr. Everett. I lived on the west side, Ward 6.
That right? I was born in the 6th Ward myself, by the cow barn.
Yes, sir, I know. And I remember on Christmas and Thanksgiving, all the families getting big turkeys and food baskets with your card in them. Happy holiday from Grady Everett.
You remember those days, huh, Joe?
I'll never forget. Like when my kid brother got killed. It was you who sent the flowers and paid for the funeral. No, sir, I'll never forget that.
I hope the people don't forget, Joe.
Almost 1:30. Shall I call Paul's room again?
No. No, I'll wait up for him. Good night, Joe.
Good night, Mr. Everett. Sleep well.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen. We have more news on the gubernatorial election held today. In keeping with the early trend of pacing Grady Everett in the upstate sections of the state, John Scott appears to be doing as much in the urban centers where Everett was generally regarded as the stronger contender. In just one moment, we will have some returns for you as compiled by the news.
Oh, where'd you find him, Joe?
From Boonville County,
Better
200
talk
out
to
of 1,000 precincts.
Come on,
Scott,
kid.
2,400.
Turn that thing off.
249. Hampton, 249 out of 600.
You look like you slept in that coat. Somebody giving you a rough time?
Dad, the crazy things Mike said, the newspapers and the professor. Lies. They're all lies, aren't they? Sure. I guess I'm still a kid. I can imagine all you've been through. Your own son doubting you. I'm so ashamed.
Nah, it's all for you. I want to be everything you want me to be.
It is Grady Everett for the people, isn't it?
Sure, for the people and for you, son.
I'm sorry, Dad.
It's politics. There's the man's inside. You're my boy, and that's all that counts. You know what? I'm going to get you a new car. Can't have a governor's son riding around in last year's job, can I?
How's everything going?
I'll make it. I was always a stretch man. You bet. Come on.
I'm Steve George's
Yes, Mr.
wife.
George, what is it?
Your son? A fine boy. I have a son, too, Mr. Everett.
Look, Mrs. George, I'm busy. Tonight's an election. Come back tomorrow and we'll talk
I've just come from my husband in jail. He told me the whole story.
Well, okay, let's go in the next room. We'll
What
talk.
I have to say, Mr. Everett, the world can know. Because they know everything else. He told me how you promised to get him out after you were elected.
Look, Mrs. George, there's a time.
You look, Mr. Grady Everett. It was you who got the contract for him. It was you who got the actual construction material.
Dad, what does she mean?
Oh, she's upset, Mrs. George. Please.
My husband is weak, Mr. Everett. But whatever else he is not a murderer. I remember his paying you that money for the school contract. He took it out of our bank account. $10,000 in cash.
All right, it's enough. It's an hysterical woman. Get her out of here.
Let her finish.
You don't intend to get him out of jail, do you, Mr. Everett? Do you? Do you? Judas was purchased with 30 pieces of silver. But he had the goodness to repent. Grady Everett was bought for blood. Children's blood.
Goodbye, Mrs. George.
Mrs. George.
Meeting's over.
I want to talk to you. I know you'll have a lot to tell me. See me tomorrow?
Bless you, son.
What's the matter? There's work to be done. What is this?
You didn't deny it.
Look, Paul, I'll talk to you later. Go in there. I'll talk to you later.
You
Paul.
didn't
I'm
deny
tired.
it.
Please, Paul. I'll talk to you later.
So Mike was right. And the newspapers, too. Maybe even the voters. Everything you ever did for anyone was really for yourself.
No, Paul, for you. Everything for you. Everything I've done has been for you, son.
No, not for me. You used me to justify your lust. Everything for me, yes, at everybody else's expense, and all for you. You used me. Your own son. Tonight, you made me feel ashamed for doubting you, and you gave me the same lies, the same seduction. And all the time I thought you were a god. Why, you're so warped you don't know where to stop.
Oh.
So twisted you don't know how to stop.
Paul, not you. Not you.
The
Paul.
great Grady
Paul.
Everett for the people.
Paul.
For the people.
Paul.
Say. Say.
All of you. I know what you're thinking. Go on, say it. Sniveling pups. I can buy and tell the whole lot of you. Go on, beat it, all of you. Beat it. Loyalty's a buck. Go on, beat it.
Joe. Joe. Joe.
I heard about it, Mr. Everett. I'm sorry I wasn't around. I was in the ballroom making arrangements.
Good old Joe.
I wanted to be in on the finish. Hello? Yes? No, Mr. Everett doesn't want to be disturbed. They want to know if you're ready to concede.
Concede?
Scott's way ahead, Mr. Everett, way ahead. The fact is, you don't stand a chance. Here, listen for yourself.
That's the latest election bulletin received here. And that means out of 3,040 districts to be reported, 2,700 give John Scott a plurality of roughly 90,000 votes. As yet, however, no message has come in from the Everett campaign headquarters.
The people forgot, Mr. Everett, but I didn't forget.
We'll make it, Joe. You stick with me.
That's my whole point of view, Mr. Everett. Stick with you to the finish. You paid for my kid brother's funeral. That was big of you. I'd never forget.
Thanks, Joe.
Not without paying you back. You see, he was killed in the Clinton Street School. Never had a chance. 12 years old, and he was crushed to death by rotten cement, rotten wood, rotten men.
What?
I took your guff, hating every second of it. Waiting, just waiting. Mike knew, didn't he?
Joe, what are you talking about?
And Mrs. George. Now everybody knows. The great man made of dirt. Grady Everett for the people.
Joe! Joe! Joe!
We're speaking to you now from outside the new governor's campaign headquarters. As you no doubt know, they are just half a block away from Grady Everett's headquarters in the Sloan Hotel, and the contrast between the two is quite apparent. From the latter, absolutely dead silence prevails. We are unable to contact Mr. Everett. They're bringing out powerful searchlights to shine on Mr. Scott when he comes out onto the balcony of his suite. Now they're playing the lights in the sky in celebration of Mr. Scott's smashing victory. And here is the governor of the state.